If you want to get into cybersecurity in 2026, the problem is probably not a lack of information. There are thousands of videos out there telling you which certification to get, which lab platform to use, which programming language to learn, and which job title to apply for. The real problem is that most people are doing all of those things in the wrong order. In this video, I'm going to give you one clear roadmap from beginner to employed. You do not need a degree to start, so do not worry about it, but you do need to build the right things in the right sequence. So for you that are discovering this channel, my name is Yazish. I've been in the tech field for the past 18 years, and 14 of those years I spent them in cybersecurity, and I work as an engineer at Microsoft in the US today. So we are going to cover five things. And okay, the first is the order that keeps our beginner stuck. The second is how to build proof before chasing more paper. The third is where CompTIA Security Plus actually fits in this roadmap. The fourth is how to package your work and enter the industry. Finally, how to specialize and use a degree later without using school as an excuse to delay action. So let's talk. Let's begin with the part that wastes the most time. The activities themselves are not always bad. Certification can help. A degree can help. Labs can help too. Applying for jobs is necessary, but a good activity done at the wrong time can still produce a bad result. You will agree with me. So most beginners are doing the right things in the wrong order. This is the part most people mix. They are not always lazy. They are often working hard, but the other weakens the value of everything they do. If you collect certifications before understanding the tools, let's be honest, you are memorizing vocabulary without context. If you apply before you have evidence, employers have no reason to trust you. If you spend years getting a degree before testing the field, you may invest heavily in a direction you do not even understand yet. So here is the pattern on the screen. When interviews still do not come, they think the missing piece must be a degree. At the same time, they watch random labs tutorials from 10 different creators on YouTube. Then they apply with nothing concrete to prove. The result is activity without employability. They have paper. They have a lot of certification, degree, certification, all those are paper. They have like saved videos and maybe a degree in progress, but no clear technical story and no proof that they can solve and explain a problem. So the better order is simple. Build a lab, then have your CompTIA Security Plus, then you get a job, then you look for the degree. First, you build practical context and proof. Next, CompTIA Security Plus, organize and validate what you already touched. Then you package the evidence and target a role that gives you real experience. Later down the line, once you have income and direction, you can use a degree to increase your long-term options. Each step that I just lay out strengthens the next one. So the first major part of this roadmap is proof. I will keep repeating that. Before you ask an employer to trust you, you need something that shows how you think, how you troubleshoot, and how you communicate technical work. Before you pay for another exam, touch the tools first. Your first move should be a basic home lab, not a giant enterprise environment in your bedroom. Just enough structure to practice real tasks, make mistakes, and build context around the concept you are studying. The goal is not to follow a tutorial perfectly. The goal is to break something, fix it, and explain what happened. That process teaches more than passive watching because it forces you to research, make decisions, test assumptions, and recover when the first solution does not work. That is much closer to real technical work that you will do on your day to day. So every project should leave something behind. Capture screenshots on the environment and the result. Write notes about the decision you made. Document the problems you encountered. Explain what you learned and what you will improve next time. Do not finish a lab and immediately move on to the next. Without documentation, the learning becomes harder to remember, and you still have nothing useful to show an employer because you can say, I have done that, I have done that, but if they don't see the proof on your GitHub, on your LinkedIn, or whatsoever, they won't believe you because anybody can say that, right? So your early projects should focus on foundations, not advanced hacking tricks. Become comfortable with Windows and Linux. Learn networking fundamentals such as IP addresses, ports, protocol, DNS, routing, and firewalls. Understand the basic structure of Active Directory. Practice reading logs and creating simple alerts. Run a vulnerability scan and learn how to explain the findings. And guess what? Document everything clearly. That is important, my man. A beginner who can document clearly is more valuable than a beginner who has touched 20 tools but cannot explain any of them. So documentation proves that you understand the work well enough to communicate it. It also gives you material for your resume, your LinkedIn, your GitHub, your interviews, and your future projects. So saving another video can feel productive, but saved content does not make you employable. One completed and documented project gives you evidence, a story to talk about during interviews, and also feedback on what you still need to learn. Execution exposes your gaps. That discomfort is useful. It tells you exactly what to study next. Once you have a practical context, credential become more useful. This is where the CompTIA Security Plus fits into the roadmap. It is not step one. It is the layer that organize and validate the foundation you have started building. So when CompTIA Security Plus discusses authentication, access control, vulnerabilities, network security, or incident response, the ideas make more sense when you can connect them to something you have already touched. Instead of like memorizing definitions in isolation, you are attaching the concept to real screens, real configuration, real logs, real mistakes, and decisions. So the CompTIA Security Plus help in three practical ways. First, it organizes your baseline knowledge. Second, it gives employer a familiar signal that you understand the fundamentals. Third, it can help your resume meet filters or formal requirements, especially in government-related environment. That is useful, but useful does not mean sufficient. So CompTIA Security Plus is not a job offer at all. Passing the exam does not automatically prove that you can troubleshoot, that you can investigate, that you can document or operate inside a real environment. Treat the certification as one piece of evidence, the entire strategy. Paper without proof is weak. It means the paper cannot carry the entire application by itself. A certification shows that you studied a body of knowledge and you passed an exam. It does not show how you respond when something is broken and the answer is not sitting in front of you. So when you combine the certification with documented project, the story changes. You are no longer saying, trust me because I passed a test. You are saying, here is the certification, here is what I built, here is what went wrong, and here is how I solved it. That is a much stronger candidate than someone that just reciting what he memorizes. So the next part is turning your learning into evidence an employer can actually consume, then using that evidence to enter the industry through a realistic first role. Each serious lab should give you multiple assets. It should give you a resume bullet, a LinkedIn proof point, a GitHub repository or project page, a clean written workflow, and an interview story. And those five, we teach you them for free on TotalThreat free. That's a school community totally free that you can join by using the link in the description. Your portfolio does not need Hollywood or production. It needs clarity. The employers should quickly understand what you built, why you build it, and what you learn from it. For every project, be ready to answer four questions. What did you build? Why did you build it? What went wrong? How did you fix it? Do not hide behind the technical vocabulary. A clear explanation shows more maturity than a longer list of tools. Employers want to know whether you understand the purpose of the work and whether you can communicate it. Whether you understand the purpose of the work and whether you can communicate it. So tools are not the value. The problem you help solve is the value. Do not only say that you install a CM. Explain that the CM centralized logs, so suspicious activity could be investigated faster. Do not only say that you ran a vulnerability scanner. Explain how the findings would help a team prioritize remediation. Connect the technical task to the business problem. That is also important. Once you have a project, CompTIA Security Plus, and a portfolio, target the first technical role that gives you your real experience. Look beyond title that contain the word cybersecurity, IT support, help desk, soccer level one, network operation center, junior identity and access management, system support, and desktop support can all become useful entry point. You just need your first job, not the last job that you will get. So you just need to have one foot in the room. So your first role does not need to be a cybersecurity analyst. Chasing the perfect title can keep you unemployed longer than necessary. Cybersecurity protects systems, networks, identities, application, and data. It is difficult to protect environment you do not understand. You will agree with me. A solid IT role can teach you how those environments work from the inside. So the first role gives you something a home lab cannot fully reproduce. Verifiable professional experience. You deal with real users, real systems, real deadlines, permissions, documentation standards, team processes, and consequences. That gives you stronger interview stories and makes you easier to trust. Employers are not only buying technical knowledge, they are buying confidence that you can operate inside the organization without creating a bigger problem. So after you gain exposure, and experience, you can make better decisions about specialization, education, and long-term growth. This is where you stop guessing and start choosing based on the work you have actually seen. Okay, do not chase a specialty only because somebody online said it pays the most. Choose based on the type of problems you enjoy solving, the skills you are developing, and the opportunities available in your market. Specialization works better after foundations and exposure. Before that, it is often just guessing with a fancy job title attached. You may discover that you enjoy monitoring and incident response, which can lead toward a soccer or blue team path. You may prefer identity and access management, cloud security, governance, risk and compliance, vulnerability management, or security engineering. The correct path is not the one with the loudest marketing. It is the one that matches your strength and gives you a realistic market opportunity. So you do not need a degree to begin this roadmap. A degree has no value. The issue is timing. If possible, pursue the degree after you have tested the field, gained experience, and created income. At that point, you understand why the material matters and you can connect school assignment to real work. A degree can remove long-term promotion ceilings, qualify you for roles with a formal education requirement, help you compete for higher level positions. That's how I was able to make a 300K at my current position. The degree can also expand your options later in your career. So use the degree as leverage. Do not treat it as permission to begin learning. And stop collecting random certifications because another creator said they are hot. They are hot. Stop watching content every night without building anything. Stop applying with no proof. Stop waiting for the perfect roadmap. You already have the roadmap. I just gave it to you. More information will not rescue you from inaction. Here is your assignment today. Okay, set up the first version of your lab. Choose one project instead of 10. Complete it slowly enough to understand what you are doing. Document it clearly. Start up the CompTIA Security Plus, then with contest. Then publish or organize the proof somewhere you can send to another person. One completed project this week is a better outcome than another week of planning. Okay, remember the order: lab, CompTIA Security Plus, job, Okay, then the degree. Some steps may overlap and your timeline may be different, but the logic should remain the same. But build before you collect. Prove before you demand trust. Enter the environment before you obsess over the perfect title. Use education strategically instead of using it to postpone action. So build context and proof with a home lab. Use the security plus to organize and validate the fundamentals. Get a technical role that gives you verifiable experience. Then use specialization and education to expand your long-term options. That is the roadmap. It is not a shortcut, but every step produces something useful for the next step. If you are tired of guessing and you want to start building real hands-on proof, join TotalThreat free. The community is free and is for people who are serious about turning cybersecurity knowledge into projects, into a portfolio, and a real job strategy. When you join the community, the first thing that you do is a 7-day challenge, and we take you by hand, day by day, and show you what to build, click by click, so you don't have to guess. You will find the link below this video. Join the community, choose your first project, and start building evidence. Peace. I'm gone.